Today, you're going to hear a powerful and emotional story about love, loss, and a secret that changes everything. It's the story of a girl who fell in love with someone she was never supposed to, her stepbrother. But what started as confusion turned into something much deeper and much more dangerous. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, leave a like, and write a comment below. For every new subscriber, I'll be donating $1 to a charity that helps homeless youth find shelter and safety. Now, let's dive in. Sofia had always known what silence sounded like. It filled the rooms of their small house, even when the TV was on. Her mom was kind but tired, always working, always hoping. Sofia tried to stay invisible, not to add more weight to her mother's shoulders. But things changed the day her mom met Robert. He was confident, well-dressed, and brought flowers to dinner. Within weeks he was staying over, and within months he moved in. Not alone, but with his son. His name was Alex. He was 19, 2 years older than Sofia, tall, lean, always in black hoodies and headphones. His jaw was sharp, his eyes darker than midnight. He barely spoke when he arrived, just nodded at her like she was some background noise he didn't care about. At first, Sofia tried to be polite. "Hi, I'm Sofia." He glanced at her. "Cool." That was it. From then on, they ignored each other, or tried to. But the house wasn't big enough to keep them apart for long. They argued over small things: the bathroom, the last slice of pizza, who left the door open. He was sarcastic, distant, always with that look like he'd rather be anywhere else. Sofia hated him, or told herself she did. Then one morning, everything shifted. It was raining hard. Sofia forgot her umbrella and arrived at school soaked and shivering. As she walked through the hallway, a group of girls started laughing. Jessica, the school queen bee, stepped in front of her. "Someone lose their dignity on the way here." Another girl added, "She looks like a drowned rat." Sofia kept her head down, trying to pass. But Jessica shoved her shoulder. Oops. Her books hit the floor. Before Sofia could bend down, someone else was already picking them up. Alex. He stood beside her, calm and silent. Then he looked straight at Jessica. "You know what's funny? How you spend all this time talking, but never say anything smart." Jessica blinked, caught off guard. "And you are?" "Someone who doesn't tolerate bullies," he said. He handed the books to Sofia, without looking at her. "Come on." She followed him down the hall, stunned. When they reached the side door, she finally spoke. "Why did you do that?" He shrugged. "Didn't like the way they looked at you. You don't even like me. Doesn't mean I'll let people treat you like trash." He turned to leave, but not before glancing at her. Not with coldness this time, but something else. Something that made her chest feel tight. From that day, things changed. Just a little. He still wasn't friendly, but he wasn't cruel. He started offering her the remote, without rolling his eyes. She caught him sketching once in the kitchen. Rooftops, fire escapes, old bricks. He didn't hide the notebook. He just said, "Don't tell anyone I'm soft." Sofia smiled for the first time in days. Something had shifted, and neither of them knew where it would lead. But it had already begun. Sofia was 17, old enough to feel everything too deeply, and young enough not to know what to do with it. Alex was 19. Not a boy, not quite a man. Somewhere in between. Somewhere dangerous. They started spending more time together. Not by choice at first. The house was small, but the more they crossed paths, the less they tried to avoid each other. Evenings became softer. Sofia would come down to the kitchen late, after her mom and Robert had gone to bed. Sometimes Alex was already there, leaning against the counter, sipping tea or scribbling in his sketchbook. She would sit at the table. He'd pretend not to notice, but he always poured her tea too. One night, she asked, "What do you keep drawing in there?" He didn't look up. "Places I wish I lived in." She smiled. "So this one's a fantasy." He finally looked at her. "No, it's just quiet." She nodded. They understood each other more than either wanted to admit. The conversations grew longer, less awkward. They talked about music, about how they both hated math, about what it felt like to grow up with missing parents. His mom had left when he was 7. Sofia's dad had disappeared when she was 4. Sometimes she made him laugh. A real laugh, low and unexpected. The first time it happened, her heart flipped in her chest like a coin in midair. She started to notice things. How his jaw clenched when he was thinking. The way his eyes softened when she mentioned animals. The tiny scar on his neck he never talked about. The way he would stand just a little too close, then pull back like he'd remembered something. And one night, it happened. Not a kiss, not even a touch, but a moment. They were sitting on the couch, everyone else was asleep. A stupid movie played in the background. She said something, and he turned to her. Really turned. His knee brushed hers, his hand rested on the couch between them. Just inches from hers, their eyes met. It lasted only seconds, but it felt longer. Softer, warmer. Her heart was loud, too loud. She stood up quickly. "I should sleep." "Yeah, me too." After that, things changed. She caught herself watching him more, listening for his footsteps. She found excuses to be near him, asking about school, needing help with her laptop, offering tea when he didn't ask. She was falling. Fast, and the worst part, he wasn't stopping her. His eyes lingered when she spoke. His voice got quieter when it was just the two of them. Once, when she brushed past him in the hallway, his hand gently touched her back, only for a second, but it stayed with her for hours. But then, he began to pull away. The kitchen, talks grew shorter. He spent more time out of the house. His door stayed shut. He avoided eye contact. Even his tone changed, colder, sharper. Sofia couldn't understand. "Did I do something?" she asked, one night. Alex didn't answer right away. He just stared at the window. "You didn't do anything. That's the problem." "What does that mean?" "It means I need space." "Why?" "Because I can't be close to you, Sofia." Her throat tightened. "You think I'm a kid?" "No, that's not it." Truth end. "Then what?" He finally looked at her. And for the first time, she saw it. Not anger, not annoyance, but fear. "Because I like you." "All right. And I'm not supposed to." Silence. The room felt too small. The walls too close. "Then don't," she whispered. He shook his head. "It's not that simple," and he walked out. She didn't sleep that night, because in those 5 words, "I like you, and I'm not supposed to," he had given her everything and taken it away in the same breath. The days that followed were a blur for Sofia. She tried to carry on as if nothing had changed, but something inside her had cracked. Every time Alex walked into the room, her stomach twisted into knots. She watched him from the corners of her eyes, searching for any sign that he still felt what she did. But he kept his distance. Quiet, cold, controlled, until she couldn't take it anymore. It was late again. The house asleep. Rain tapped gently against the kitchen windows. She found him at the sink, washing a glass. His shoulders tense, his hair still damp from the shower. Sofia stood behind him, hands clenched at her sides. "I can't do this anymore," she said. He turned, not startled, just tired. "Do what?" "Pretend like none of it happened. Like I don't feel what I feel." Alex looked away. Sofia stepped closer. "I love you," she said softly. "I know I'm not supposed to. I know it's wrong. But I do. I love you. And I can't keep pretending it's something else." The silence that followed was unbearable. Alex's jaw clenched. He ran a hand through his hair. For a second, he opened his mouth to speak, then closed it again. Sofia's voice cracked. "Say something." He looked at her, eyes full of something that might have been pain, or guilt, or both. "You shouldn't love me," he said. "But I do. I'm your stepbrother, Sofia. We live in the same house. Our parents just got married. What do you think happens if..." She cut him off. "I don't care about what people think. I care about you." He stepped back. "You think love is enough to fix this? Isn't it?" "No, Sofia. It's not." He turned toward the hallway, then paused. "You're amazing, you are. But this would ruin everything." Then he was gone, and the next morning, so was he. Sofia woke to her mom's voice downstairs, sharp and panicked. "He's not in his room," Clara said. "His bed hasn't been slept in." "Did he say anything to you?" Sofia sat frozen at the top of the stairs, her mouth dry. "No," she lied. "I haven't seen him." Robert was in the kitchen, staring out the window, silent. Later that day, Clara came into Sofia's room. Her face was pale. "He's run away, that's what the police said. Took a bag, some cash, left his phone behind." "Why?" Sofia whispered. Clara shook her head. "I don't know, maybe something at school. Or maybe it was too hard, trying to blend our families." Sofia nodded, numb, but she knew, it was her. She had said too much, loved too openly. Ruined what little peace they had. For days, she barely spoke. She avoided meals, avoided mirrors, avoided Robert's eyes. Every corner of the house reminded her of him. His sketchbook left behind, his tea mug still in the cupboard, his flannel shirt that still hung on the back of a chair. At night, she would lie awake, replaying every moment. Why did I say it? Why didn't he stay? Why did he run? The pain turned inward. She began to blame herself for everything. The ruined marriage, the silent meals, her mother's tired eyes, the empty room, down the hall. Maybe I'm broken, she thought. Maybe I destroy things. Her grades slipped, her smiles vanished. She stopped drawing, stopped listening to music, stopped hoping, because love, when left unanswered, doesn't just hurt, it hollows. The city had grown colder in the past 6 years. Or maybe it was just Sofia who had. At 23, she had become everything she promised herself she'd be: focused, strong, untouchable. She worked as a junior journalist for a local paper, mostly covering human interest stories, community shelters, missing persons, broken systems. The kind of stories people liked to share, but rarely cared to fix. On a damp October morning, she found herself walking through a stretch of the city known as Tent Line. A few blocks of makeshift shelters, tarps, and broken souls the world had forgotten. The paper didn't ask her to go, but she went anyway. Some part of her always came back here when she felt disconnected. Maybe she thought if she could fix something small out here, she could feel a little more whole herself. She spotted him slumped against a graffiti-covered wall, a man in his 60s, blood on his temple, breathing shallow. Sofia rushed forward. "Sir? Can you hear me?" he groaned, barely conscious. His hands trembled as he tried to move. His lips were cracked. One eye was already swelling shut. She knelt down and pulled a small bottle of water from her bag, helped him drink, took off her coat, and draped it over his shoulders. Looked around. No one was watching. No one was helping. It was always like that here. Invisible pain. "You're going to be okay. I'll call an ambulance. Please," he rasped. "Don't. No hospital." "Why?" They take us in and throw us back out worse. I just need to rest." Sophia hesitated, then nodded. Her phone buzzed in her pocket, but she ignored it. From behind a torn green tarp, a voice called out, "Leave him be. He just needs sleep. They beat him, but he'll live." Her body froze. She knew that voice. That voice. It came again, softer. "I got him. You can go." Slowly she turned toward the tarp. Her breath caught. A figure stepped out of the shadows, tall, leaner than before. His beard was overgrown, hair longer, messier. But the eyes, those eyes, she would know them anywhere. Alex. The world spun. He blinked, recognizing her a second too late. And then his face shifted. Shock, guilt, panic. Sophia, she didn't speak. Her lips moved, but nothing came out. He stepped closer, slowly, like approaching a wounded animal. "You shouldn't be here," he said. "Neither should you," she whispered. Silence. She looked at him. The dirt on his hands, the bruise along his jaw, the familiar scar on his neck. "What happened to you?" "Life," he said simply. "You disappeared. I had to." "No, Alex. You chose to." He nodded, eyes low. "I did. Why here? Why here? Why like this?" He glanced at the old man, who was now asleep against the wall. "Because here, nobody asks questions. Nobody expects anything from you. You just exist." Tears burned in her eyes. She hated him. She missed him. She never stopped. "You left me. I know. You broke me. I know. 6 years, Alex. 6 years of silence." He looked at her, and for the first time in years, she saw it again. The pain he always tried to hide. Only now, it wasn't hidden anymore. It lived on his skin. "I thought disappearing would protect you." "Protect me? From what?" "From me." She shook her head. "You never gave me the chance to decide if I needed protecting." He stepped back. This was a mistake. She grabbed his sleeve. "Don't you dare walk away again." His voice cracked. "I don't belong in your world anymore, Sophia." "Then why are you still in mine?" The question hung in the air between them, heavy and alive. He had no answer. And for the first time, neither did she. They sat beneath the overpass just a few feet from the broken wall where the old man still slept. Sophia had found a bench nearby, but she didn't sit. Her arms were crossed, her body tense, heart louder than the traffic above. Alex looked nothing like the boy she remembered. His eyes were darker now, more guarded. His hands were rough, fingernails chipped, wrinkles carved into the edges of his mouth. Life had not been kind. He seemed older than 25, maybe not in years, but in weight. She couldn't take it anymore. "Tell me," she said. Alex didn't pretend to misunderstand. "You wouldn't believe me. Try me." He ran a hand over his face, then leaned forward, elbows on his knees. Rain began to fall, soft, steady. It soaked his shoulders, but he didn't seem to notice. That night, the last one, before I disappeared, Sophia's heart clenched. I couldn't sleep. I went downstairs to get water, and I heard him. "Robert. Your stepdad. My so-called new father." Her face froze. He was on the phone, talking to someone I didn't recognize. I heard my name. "What did he say?" Alex looked up at her. "He said he was tired of me, that I was in the way, that if I kept living there, the will couldn't be changed in time." "What will?" "My mom's. My real mother. She left me something decent. He wanted it, but the conditions required I be living with him when it transferred. That's why he married your mom in the first place." Sophia stumbled back a step. "No, that can't be true." "It is. But why didn't you say anything?" "Because I knew what it would do to you. You loved him. And he loved your mom, or at least pretended to. If I had stayed and spoken up, there would have been police, lawyers, press. He sighed. And I didn't have proof, just a voice in the dark. Through a crack in the wall, Sofia tried to breathe. So you left, to protect yourself? No. He looked at her, eyes soft. Now. I left to protect you. She blinked, stunned. I knew he'd make me look unstable. Dangerous. You were only 17, Sofia. I was afraid he'd convince everyone I hurt you, or tried to. He could twist anything. Her throat tightened. You thought I'd believe him. I thought he'd make sure you had no choice. Her fingers shook. 6 years, Alex. 6 years I hated myself. I thought I drove you away, that I broke something sacred. You didn't. You were the only real thing I had. Then why didn't you tell me all this sooner? He laughed, dry, bitter, because I was a scared kid with no plan. I didn't know where to go. I slept in shelters, worked under fake names, got beat up, got robbed. But I never came back because I couldn't bring that world near you. Sofia wiped her eyes. You could have called, written. I did. I did. What? I sent letters, to the house, to your name, but he must have taken them. She stared at him, horrified. He kept them. I think so. I never got a response. After a while, I stopped trying. He looked away, ashamed. Then one day, I saw your name in a paper, your article. I knew you made it out. You were okay. So you watched from a distance, yes. And now, Alex swallowed. Now I'm just tired. Sofia stepped closer, kneeling in front of him. She touched his hand. Cold, calloused, human. You're not alone anymore. He looked at her, truly looked. I don't know who I am without the guilt. Then maybe, she whispered, it's time to find out. The story ran with the headline, Stolen Inheritance. A Stepchild's Silent War. Byline, Sofia reigns. It went viral within 48 hours. Names were changed in the first draft, then changed back in the final. The truth had lived in the dark long enough. It was time for it to breathe. She included everything. The anonymous letters, the suspicious timing of legal changes, her own personal account of growing up in that house. She had records of the inheritance from public court filings, and with Alex's help, she traced back false documents that Robert had used to forge control over his late wife's estate. What she didn't include was the part where she found Alex half-starved under an overpass. Some truths still needed shelter. Within a week, Robert was arrested. Fraud, forgery, financial abuse. He looked thinner than she remembered. The arrogance still clung to him like a tailored suit, but his smirk faltered when he saw her walk into the courtroom. He didn't say a word. He didn't have to. He knew. He lost. For the first time in years, Sofia slept through the night, but peace was a slow guest. Alex stayed at a small studio apartment she found for him. It wasn't much. A sink that groaned when used, a mattress on the floor, and walls that hummed every time a truck passed by outside. But it was his. She helped him get an ID, then a doctor's appointment, then an interview at a mechanic's shop. He didn't say much, but he showed up. Every day, on time. Hands greasy, shirt soaked in sweat, but his eyes, they started to look like his again. Still, they didn't talk about them. Not about the letters, not about the night he left, not about the moment when he almost kissed her 6 years ago. In that quiet space between love and something forbidden. Somewhere between history and regret, they floated like ghosts in the same city. One evening, after a long day at the paper, Sofia dropped by his place with takeout, Indian food, his favorite, though he never told her how he remembered hers too. They sat on the floor, eating in silence. Then she asked, "Do you hate me for writing the article?" Alex paused, mid-bite. "No, I think it saved me." She nodded. "I didn't do it just for justice. I did it because I wanted to believe you weren't the villain I created in my head." He looked at her carefully. And was I? No, she whispered. You were just a boy trying to survive. Silence filled the cracks again. After a while, he spoke. I still think about that night. She didn't ask which one. She knew. It haunts me too, she said quietly. He set his food down. We were kids, scared, confused. And in love, she added. His jaw clenched. We shouldn't have been. But we were. The rain began to tap at the window, a soft, steady rhythm. I want to move on, Sophia said. I want to feel like life didn't stop 6 years ago. But every time I see you, I feel 17 again. I feel like I'm waiting for you to run. I'm not running this time, Alex replied. She turned to him. Then don't. He reached out, brushing her hand lightly. Not possessive, just steady. I don't know who I am to you now. You're the boy I loved, the man I almost lost, and the person I still can't quite define. Do we have to define it? Maybe not now. He nodded. Then let me earn it. Whatever we are. Let me earn it from the ground up. Sophia looked into his eyes, tired, scarred, but no longer empty. Okay, she said. Not everything healed that night, but something cracked open, not a wound, a door, and for the first time in years, they both stepped through, not as broken halves, reaching for the past, but as two whole people trying to build something new from the ashes. It took Sophia 3 weeks to gather the courage to show up unannounced at her mother's townhouse. The pale blue shutters, roses by the porch, and memories hanging like ghosts in every window, and she brought Alex with her. Her mother opened the door wearing an apron, hands covered in flour, freezing when she saw them standing side by side. Alex lowered his eyes and greeted her quietly, and after a long pause, Mary Ann stepped aside and invited them in. The living room was unchanged, the beige couch and photos on the mantel still there, though Robert's image had faded from the frame of their lives. They sat down, the tension thick as no one touched the tea Mary Ann served. Finally, Mary Ann said she thought Alex was dead. He explained he didn't reach out because he didn't think she'd believe him, not even himself back then. Sophia urged her mother to listen as they told her everything about Robert, the inheritance, the phone calls, the letters, the silences, and the night Alex left. Mary Ann didn't cry but sat still, admitting she'd been fooled and had let Robert hurt them both. Alex reassured her it wasn't her fault, and for the first time in years, Mary Ann truly looked at him and said she missed him. He smiled sadly and said he missed her too. The silence that followed was soft and heavy with healing as they talked for hours about the past, what came next, and forgiveness, not as something owed, but something offered. When they left that night, the air felt lighter. Back at his apartment, Sophia stood by the window while Alex placed 2 mugs of tea on the counter, the city buzzing beyond the glass with cars, lights, and strangers. He told her he didn't think he'd ever get this far. A roof, a job, her, and she smiled, reminding him that here he was. He asked about them, about what they meant to each other, and she admitted it was the one question she kept putting off. Maybe not everything needed an answer right now, but if he asked, she said he was not her stepbrother anymore. Not by law, house, but only by memory. That was the hardest part, he admitted. She nodded, saying memories can change. He looked down then back into her eyes, and asked if he could kiss her. She smiled, not just with her mouth but with her soul, and said yes. Their lips met not with wild youthful hunger, but steady, full of all the words never spoken, all the pain survived, and all the hope dared. Later that night, lying side by side in silence, breathing the same air after everything, Sophia knew this was only the beginning, not of something forbidden, but of something earned.